They were Japan's most iconic warriors, the samurai, trained for combat, bound by honor, armed with the katana, the blade said to carry the soul of its master. For centuries, the sight of the samurai's sword inspired both fear and respect. But what happens when the sword is taken away? What does it mean to be a samurai without a weapon? The truth is, the samurai were never only their swords. Behind the steel was a body and mind trained for survival, resilience, and combat in every form. Even when stripped of their weapons, the samurai remained warriors. On the battlefield, weapons could be broken, lost, or knocked away. In castles and courtly settings, carrying a sword was sometimes forbidden. And in daily life, conflict could erupt without warning. In each of these moments, the samurai had to rely on more than just their blade. So what did they use? The answer lies into deadly arts, Jujutsu and Yoroi Kumi-Uchi. Jujutsu, literally the art of flexibility or the art of yielding, was developed as a system of throws, joint locks, chokes, and strikes. It was never designed as a sport. Jujutsu was made for the battlefield, efficient techniques that allowed an unarmed warrior to defeat, disable, or control an opponent until they could reclaim a weapon. Using balance, leverage, and timing, a samurai could use an enemy's strength against them, turning size and power into weaknesses. But in the chaos of armored battle, another system was essential: Yoroi Kumi-Uchi. This was close-quarters grappling practiced in full armor. Imagine two warriors, both encased in layers of iron and silk, colliding in the crush of combat. Striking was nearly useless against heavy armor. So they grappled, grabbing cords, twisting joints, toppling their enemy to the ground, and finishing them with a dagger thrust through the gaps in the plates. Yoroi Kumi-Uchi was brutal, direct, and built for the realities of war. These arts taught the samurai that even unarmed, they were never powerless. A samurai could strike with atemi, precise blows to vulnerable areas. They could throw an enemy to the ground, pin them, and immobilize limbs. And once an opponent was vulnerable, even a small dagger or a weapon taken from the enemy themselves could turn the tide. History is filled with moments where samurai fought without swords. In castles, when disputes broke out and weapons were banned, they turned to hand-to-hand combat. In duels where honor restricted open blades, they used the tesson, the iron war fan. It looked harmless, but it could parry blades, break bones, or strike with deadly force. Some carried the jut, a small truncheon designed for police work, able to trap a blade and control a suspect without killing. Even an everyday object, a walking stick, a rope, or a tool, could be turned into a weapon in trained hands. But beyond the techniques, the samurai relied on mindset. The core of Bushido, the way of the warrior, was not about the sword, it was about readiness. To face fear without hesitation, to stay calm in chaos. To act with purpose, even when stripped of every advantage. The true weapon of the samurai was not the katana. It was the spirit that wielded it. Think of it this way. A samurai without a sword was not a farmer holding empty hands. He was a lifetime of training in awareness, discipline, and adaptability. Every step, every glance, every breath was practiced. The sword may have been gone, but the warrior remained. Modern martial arts still carry this legacy. Judo, Aikido, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu all trace their roots back to the battlefield arts of Jujutsu in Yoroi Kumi-Uchi. When you see a throw in Judo, imagine it once performed by a samurai in armor, toppling an enemy to drive a dagger into a weak point. When you see a joint lock in Aikido, picture it used to disarm a swordsman without shedding blood. These arts survived because they were practical, effective, and rooted in survival. So what does this teach us? That a samurai's power was never limited to steel. Their training turned their body into a weapon, their mind into a fortress, and their spirit into unshakable resolve. Imagine a samurai disarmed on the battlefield. His sword lost, his spear broken, he doesn't surrender. He moves in, seizes the enemy's wrist, pulls him off balance, throws him to the ground, and finishes the fight. That is the essence of the warrior, adaptability in every situation. Even today, the lesson holds: strength isn't about what you carry. It's about what you can do with what you have. Tools can be lost, weapons can be taken, but skill, discipline, and courage can never be stripped away. So the next time you picture a samurai, don't only imagine the shining katana. Imagine the unarmed warrior, standing firm, trained in Jujutsu and Yoroi Kumi-Uchi, ready to fight with nothing but willpower, creativity, and spirit. Because the soul of the samurai was never the sword. It was the unbreakable resolve to fight, endure, and rise again, with or without a weapon. If you found this story fascinating, hit like, share it with someone who loves history, and subscribe for more deep dives into warriors, myths, and lessons that still matter today. And tell me in the comments, would you survive as a samurai without a sword?